How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Sick Eric TV, and today I'm going to be doing a little rant video on pretty much how smartphone makers have been giving us less features to justify a lower price on their devices. Now, this has been going on for the past year or so, and it's very annoying, and I know a lot of people know what I'm talking about. If you do not want to hear a rant video, then go, watch a TikTok video or something else. But today I'm going to be doing a little rant on how we are getting less features and still being charged $1,000, $800, $900, or $1,000 for these smartphones, and they're cutting down the features on them. It's very annoying, and this has been on my mind. Now, I don't have a script for this or anything, so I'm just going to be going off the top of my head, so hopefully I don't forget anything, and hopefully I don't screw anything up. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago, you gave me $800, $900, and I could get a pretty sweet ass deal on a smartphone, and that is not the case today. For instance, like several years ago, you'll be seeing some specs on your screen right about now. So you could get pretty much a LG G8 for about $800, and this thing had a QHD POLED display, 1440, Gorilla Glass 5 front and back, metal frame construction, plenty of RAM, plenty of storage, excellent cameras. You got a headphone jack, you got IP68 water and dust resistance, you got micro SD card support, you got all of this, a pretty sizable battery, wireless charging, fast charging. You got it all on, like, say, the LG G8. And that was an $800 phone, maybe a little bit over that, but it was about an $800 phone for the LG G8. Another example is going on over to the Galaxy S10 and the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. Now, these phones, you got quite a bit. Granted, the Note 10 Plus was about, I want to say maybe $1,000, $1,100. The Galaxy S10 regular version was about $800, $850, I believe. It wasn't that expensive for the regular S10. But then again, you got micro SD card on both of these. You got a large battery. You got 3 cameras on the back, glass on glass construction, metal frame, IP68, micro SD card, if I haven't said that already. You got a lot of features on these devices. And say for the S10, that was about $800, anywhere between $800 and $900. The Note 10 Plus was a little bit more expensive. But this was about the time when, especially people like Samsung, have been including, doing the whole 2 variant types. Like, this is when they started the whole Note 10 and the Note 10 Plus. Now, this is where it gets annoying. Like, they offer the regular Note 10 for a lower price cut, but, you get a 1080p display, which is what's going on all over the place right now. Is we are getting lower displays on our smartphones, no micro SD card support, the headphone jack is gone. Granted, our displays are higher refresh rates, but still, back in the day we didn't have that. But still, 1080p displays, no micro SD card support, no headphone jacks. Some phones are even coming with plastic backs, like say the Note 20. That phone was $1,000 and it came with a plastic back. Dumbed down specs from the Note 20 Ultra, and I don't know, did anybody buy the regular Note 20? I don't know, raise your hand if you bought the regular Note 20 a couple years ago. No, everybody bought the Ultra because, they're like, well, for $200 more, you could get what you want. And that's what's going on right now, is smartphones are making these lower quality phones, and that's fine. People want to spend less money and get those. That's cool. If you want to spend $300-$400 more, get the Ultra or whatever of these phones. But it's still, like, those phones are still kind of high for what you're getting. Like say for the regular, the S21 Plus, yeah, this has a glass back. It has really nice construction, but you are getting a 1080p display on here. No micro SD card support, no headphone jack. I believe that whole Samsung Pay thing, that sensors like NFC or whatever, that's gone, or whatever. Cameras are still pretty good, but this phone costs $1,000, $999 when this phone came out. And for what you're getting, of course people are going to go to the Ultra. The Ultra costs what, $200 more? It's just, then why make this? And the regular S21 was a nice phone, but it was also kind of high. And it's just, you know, if you're gonna give me a plastic phone, charge me less for it. Don't, you know, charge $800 for a plastic phone that has no micro SD card, no headphone jack, and it's just everything is dumbed down on those specs. And that's what I'm trying to get at today is hopefully I'm not all over the place, but yeah, we're getting less features, and companies are still charging the same amount, even more. And they keep saying, oh well, we put a plastic back on there to bring down the cost, or we took off the micro SD card support, or we gave you a 1080p display, that way the cost is cheaper to you. Well, what was the case 3 years ago? We got all of these features and the phone cost $800 to $900, and it was a badass phone back then, you know, and we got everything, you know, like the Note 9, that phone had everything on it. Headphone jack, high quality display, cameras were okay. It didn't have a wide angle camera, ultra wide angle camera, but still, the Note 9, a lot of people still think that was the best Note. For me, I think, yeah, the Note 9 was really good, and the Note 20 Ultra is a really good Note. But back in the day, $800 and $900 got you a really badass phone. Nowadays, you get plastic backs, you get 1080p displays. Granted, like I said earlier, they are 120 hertz or high refresh displays, but still, and if you want to get the top of the line, you have to spend over $1,000. Like say the OnePlus 9 Pro costs about $1,100 after taxes and shipping, and this, the OnePlus 9, costs about $750, and that's pretty good. But then again, they're cutting down features. Like, why does this phone have to have a plastic frame and a 1080p display? Like, I don't understand. To cut down on the cost, how much more would it have been to put a metal frame on here? And then you go look at the OnePlus 9R, that has a metal frame and a glass back, but that phone costs cheaper than the regular OnePlus 9. Like, I don't understand smartphone makers. They do these weird things to their phones, and they're trying to justify that it brings down the cost of their devices. And I get that and all, like, try to give us cheaper devices, but it's getting out of hand to where these cheaper devices aren't that much cheaper, and you're still paying freaking $800 or $900 for dumbed down specs. If you want the top of the line, if you want everything that a smartphone could have, you have to pay over $1,000, $1,200 for a smartphone. You know, the Pixel 4a 5G, $500, and I think this is pretty decently priced. It's got a plastic back, you know, 1080p display, no high refresh rate, but if you look at a lot of regular, like old, like not old, but Chinese manufacturers like Xiaomi, they're making really good smartphones. ZTE making really excellent smartphones for like less than this. For $400, $200, you could get, you know, high refresh rates, 1080p display as well. Some of them even had headphone jacks and micro SD cards, and that's pretty cool. Why they could do it? Why can't Samsung do it? Why can't, well, LG is gone, but you know, why can't Google do it? Why can't OnePlus do it? And it's just crazy. Like the ZTE Ultra 30 or 30 Ultra, whatever the hell it's called, that is a beast of a phone. And you know how much that phone costs? Entry level phone is about $800 or less. If you want the higher storage or whatever, you spend $100 more, but that is pretty much a Note 20 Ultra phone. Like, that thing is a beast, has all the specs you could possibly need, and it's under $1,000. Meanwhile, you go to Samsung and the S21 Ultra is like fucking $1,200, and it's just crazy. Like, I don't know if I'm making sense or what, but yeah, it's just getting out of control that we are getting less features on phones than we did 3 years ago. How did we go backwards from QHD displays as being a standard on smartphones back to just being 1080p on a smartphone? If you want the highest and the best quality display, here, spend $300 or $400 more and then get what you want. S21 Plus should have been priced at about $800, not $1,000. The OnePlus 9 regular one, it's okay, maybe $700, considering what you get here, but you still get a premium, Snapdragon 888 on there. OnePlus 9 Pro should have been $1,000 or less, maybe. OnePlus has definitely lost their way as far as pricing. Pixel 4a 5G, $400 or $500. I guess that's about right for this device, considering what you get. Pixels are really, really good. And yeah, another thing that's really annoying is chipsets. Like, we're getting a lot of mid-range chipsets nowadays. Back in the day, Qualcomm came out with the latest, the 855, the 845, the 865, and that was it. Yeah, they had their mid-range chipsets, but they were for their budget phones. And now mid-range chipsets are being used on flagship phones. Like, say for instance, the Pixel 5 had a mid-range chip, and they're saying it's to bring the cost down. A lot of these smartphone makers, especially LG that aren't here anymore, a lot of them are using the Snapdragon 8, the 765G chipset to bring down the cost. And what happened to just using the regular chipset, like on every flagship device? If a flagship comes out and it's called a flagship, it should have the latest and greatest from Qualcomm, a flagship chipset. And a lot of phones aren't doing that. I remember LG, most of their smartphones, the Wing and the Velvet, they had the 765G. Why not include the highest quality chipset? Well, I think back then it was the 865. Why didn't they include that on those devices? They said is so it could bring the cost down and make it cheaper. Meanwhile, the LG Wing came out at $1,000. Like, that is insane for mid-range specs. $1,000. Yeah, it did the whole flippy thing and it was pretty cool, but it was $1,000 for a mid-range spec smartphone. The LG Velvet, that phone was okay. It was priced all right. I think it was like $500 or $600. It's gone down a lot. You can get an LG Velvet on Amazon for like less than $300, which is pretty cool. But that is what it should be at. Don't give me all of these mid-range features and charge me, $800 or $900 for them. It's just ridiculous. And I think that we've gone backwards on smartphones. Now we're going to the whole, foldable things and all of that crap. And yeah, foldables are cool. I haven't had one yet, so I don't know exactly what it's like to use a foldable smartphone. But I understand the companies are going to release 3 different versions of the Galaxy S series, and give us, the entry level, the center one, and then the Ultra. Back in the day, we just got 2. We got the regular S9 and then the S9 Plus. We got the, I think the Galaxy S10 was it was a good start. They did the S10e and then the, or whatever the hell it was called, and then the S10 and then the S10 Plus. That was pretty cool. If that regular S10, the smaller version, I think it was called the S10e or something like that, and if they did that today, that phone would absolutely kick ass, because everybody's starting to go back to the smaller form factor. I don't know why people are liking that. If they would have done that today, like if they came out with that version of the S10 with a Snapdragon 888 processor, that phone will sell really good. That would be Samsung's iPhone SE. And that's cool that people are doing that. They're giving us 3 different variants, but it's getting out of hand with the whole regular the mid-range and then the ultra, but then you're cutting down the features on that regular version. It's like, yeah, it's cheaper, look what you're getting, but still, it's still expensive for what it is, you know, especially with the Samsung losing all of this stuff that you would get on a Samsung 2 or 3 years ago at the same price. You know, you would get everything on there. Now everything is just dumbed down, lowered specs, and they're still charging us an arm and a leg for these smartphones. And even phones like the Ultra, the S21 Ultra, that still doesn't have a micro SD card, I think. So, and it's a $1,200 phone. Like, still, we keep losing these features, and it's all just to justify a lower price cut, you know. Meanwhile, back in the day, we could get all of these features for the same price of a smartphone today and be happy. You know, it's just annoying that we've come down to going backwards, you know, on our smartphones, and we're okay with it. You know why? Because we'll buy these smartphones. Samsung's making a shitload of money because we keep buying their phones. Apple, you know, they still come out with 64 gigabyte variants of their phones, which is weird, and they cost $1,000. You know, it's just, I don't understand. But I guess that's us. You know, we'll buy these smartphones, so it doesn't matter. It's just annoying that, you know, I want a flagship smartphone that's not going to cost me, you know, an arm and a leg. You know, I don't want to have to go to the bank and take out a loan or a mortgage just to get the phone that I want, you know, or sell a kidney. I want smartphones to be priced accordingly, you know, and give me the features that I want, and not, you know, charge me $800 for dumbed down specs. But that's just my ideas or my thoughts of the smartphone industry right now, that we are going backwards on everything, getting less specs. We've gone back to 1080p displays apparently. Yeah, that's, you know, you could get by with a 1080p display, but, you know, lower the price a little bit more. You know, if you're gonna give me a plastic frame and a plastic back, then lower the price more than what it, you know, it is now. But anyways, that's just, I just had that on my mind and I wanted to share it with you guys. So hopefully I didn't ramble on too long. Shit, it's gone already 18 minutes. All right, well, I'll go ahead and let you guys go. If you listen, and thank you for listening, subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed, thumbs down if you didn't, that's quite all right, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.